Welcome to the session, and thank you very much to MVNO Nation for this opportunity to talk about the strategies for an IoT MVNO. My name is Santiago Gómez, and I am Sales Director for JSC Ingenium. Let's see first what are the challenges and pain points for IoT MVNO. The first thing we should do as a challenge is to identify the verticals needs and which role we want to play in these verticals. Then identify which verticals we should target. And for sure, the third step could be the differentiation in products and services operation. Then all these three steps are defined because which is the desired position, what role as an MVNO you want to play, and how do you want to address the market. The first one, identifying the vertical needs and deciding the role that an MVNO wants to play. We are living right now, nowadays, a revolution in the requirements, and the services are changing and become more and more complex. Moving from yesterday, connectivity needs from the customers, from the verticals, to a new situation today with an increased interactivity, and we need more real-time analysis, but it's not enough. Tomorrow we will find ubiquity, billions and billions of devices that will be very highly variable requirements from the different verticals that we are focusing. Then it's time to define which is the role that we want to play. On the right side, you see what a connectivity provider, a passive wholesaler, would be proposing to the end customer, with no involvement in the business. On the left side, you can find, on the contrary, a service provider that knows quite well the verticals business. And in the very middle, the IoT enabler that enables the verticals companies the service, but are not so much involved in the understanding and the business. Then there is a step to make and to pass from this passive provider, from the concept of do it yourself. I provide you the connectivity, but I do not provide you the tools. I'm not involved in your business, to become a technology partner. And this is the role that many MVNOs should play right now, is to guide the customer through the full process, provide all the tools, and provide the support 24/7. And the perception that we are together in the business, in the project, and that are not a simple connectivity provider. A good example that we can find is in the elevators. It's very easy to see on the graph on the left side that a first step could be just to become a connectivity provider and to provide the connectivity to these companies that maintains and deploy elevators. But a new step could be just to make possible the test alive for all those elevators, adding some value-added services, as well as the emergency calls. But you can go further and to add additional services and for sure additional revenues. With this example of the total remote control, and even with applications like MKey that allows a company dedicated to the elevators to clearly identify who is accessing the elevator from a technical point of view, to fix any damage, or even to do a revision. It's a total difference in the service. Is not only about the price that we apply to those services. And the steps to take, the step that has to be taken to be successful in this way is just to identify the IoT opportunity. As an MVNO, what role do we want to play, and what verticals and regions we want to focus. That is quite important, and we will see later on. Then, once that we have identified all that, it's just a matter of identifying the resources and capabilities that those verticals that we want to focus need. How do we want to present the service? Is integrated with other services, is a total separate IoT service, and to do the organizational setup for those services. And then it's a matter of define the processes and systems that the vertical will need, the contractual agreements that we need with the host operator, with the MNO, and then to take the step to go to market and launch the services. How do we identify which verticals? Now that we have decided that the role that we will play, we need to identify the verticals that we will target. There are more than 200 vertical type of customers in 10 different industry sectors, but it's very, very important to also take into account the region we are running our business. A good example is the metering. For instance, in Europe, it's a mature market. Regulation has pushed a lot to have IoT and intelligent meters all over Europe. But if we move to Latin America, for instance, the market is still very, very incipient. It's very new. We can also compare vending or security services that are totally different depending on the regulation that we find in different countries. And also some vertical like smart cities is a booming area. Everyone talks about billions and billions of different devices that we will find in different smart cities. Then we need to identify clearly which of those verticals we want to focus. Let me share an example that a company that clearly decided which verticals should follow. And it's Alai Secure is the first machine-to-machine or IoT operator specialized in telco security in Spain, but also all those services that are deployed in Spain are being extended to Colombia, to Chile, Peru, and other countries. Some examples for Alai Secure will be shared. A Spanish company like Alai Secure was founded in 2006, some years ago. It's not a new company, very specialized in IoT business and telco service offerings. As said before, it's operating in multiple countries, and to do all that activity is relying on the Ingenium IoT connectivity platform. We will talk in the last slides about how important is just a good partnership to be able to run the services. About the samples vending, Alai Secure is providing to these vertical companies dedicated to vending the capacity to have a control remote for pricing, for advertising. Then the telecontrol is becoming more and more important. Also the telemetry that it will allow us to have very good time and cost savings, just having a good knowledge on the necessary stocks that the trucks should bring to that different vending machines, and also defining the truck pass, just saving, as I said, some time and cost. Another good example, and very is an important market for Alai Secure, is private security, just providing all those companies two-way backup for communication, allowing all these networks dedicated to the IoT, centralized communication through different technologies like GPRS, LoRaWAN, and allowing the technical alarms for the different sensors and measuring capabilities that makes the companies to get some additional revenues. Smart metering for the utilities, again, the possibility to have online measures, real time for consumptions, for different breaks in the networks, damages in the commodities networks. That brings to these companies an important saving on avoiding unnecessary visits, having a good control and knowledge of what's going on the networks. And again, it's very important, and we see in the regulation how important it is to secure the communication for all those meters, for all those sensors, using multiple technologies and ensuring that only the company is accessing all these devices. One more example regarding smart cities. We took again the elevators example because it's quite important to see how we could have a good control for the faults from a proactive point of view, having the telemetry, the live or emergency calls, but also moving to remote control for the preventive maintenance. In this case, Alai Secure is partnering with National Systems that incorporates Alai Security to guarantee these communications between the elevator and the company to maintain the service. It's just one of the examples that we can share regarding these important nowadays services that we are providing. Minery is an example of what's coming. We find more and more in the MVNOs areas that have private networks for machine to machine are being requested and deployed to provide service in many areas where we can find coverage or no coverage at all, that is without any coverage. It's important to ensure that there is some good communication and secure communication between the central systems, the employees, the mobile units, the drones. The picture you can see, more and more we are finding many devices that are not, let's say, locally human controlled, but remotely controlled by the companies. And also included all the sensors that all this kind of installation require. The reason to mention this specific example about minery is the need for new technologies like LoRaWAN with low power consumption and long range capabilities that ensure that the communications two-way in real time are secure, and that allows that all those private networks in those areas where there is no GPRS or GSM coverage is ensured. And finally, let's see how we differentiate the products and the service operation. It's really important as an MVNO. It's really important as an IoT MVNO that we decide a good partnership. You see in the picture that the IoT MVNO is just in the middle between the vertical companies, the end customers, and the partners on the left side, not only for the vertical applications, but also with the host or the mobile network operator that ensures the connectivity, but also the technology provider that gives all the tools that we will see right now, that allows the MVNO for IoT to make a very specifically designed service for those verticals. Because it's not only differentiation due to the value-added services that are tailor-made for the customer, that are very important, but also very important on the platform capabilities, the real-time management interfaces that are provided for all those operators. An example is the service management enabling. That is, through a MVNO very specialized in specific verticals, we can provide all the information that vertical, that companies require to run the services. Not only for the specific applications, but also, as I said, with the right tools to run smoothly the service. As in the previous slides, when you go to a connectivity provider, you will get some connectivity, but the company does not need only connectivity. They also need a good triage capabilities, just monitoring the service in a proper way, and for sure to have the capability to self-manage all the elements in the platform. And this is only provided when an MVNO knows quite well the requirements and the needs from the verticals. All that through a very good platform that provide this connectivity management, ensuring, as you can see, this is a quite technical picture, but you can see that you can use different access networks on the left side just to provide capabilities to the IoT application through the business support system that allows the MVNO to control all the applications, all the services that are being provided. And for sure, we do all those integrations through the different capabilities for messaging with the different elements in the network through USSD or roaming brokers, etc. But also in the bottom part, you can see that the operation and maintenance layer is so important to have a very good control and monitoring of the service. And not only for nowadays services, it's really important to be ready for the 5G area. We know that now we are in a very challenging moment with technologies on the deployment and new capabilities that allow the MVNOs to run the business from a different point of view. It's cloud native, just reducing the capex and the opex. That is not deploying any longer all hardware, legacy hardware that will be obsolete and legacy in a while. Also, having the capability to provide edge computing and reducing the consumption or the usage of the core network, and also preparing the network for billions of devices connected in the edge, and also the billions and billions of devices that we will find will bring us new use case and requirements. And we need that automation that only with the new platform or the platform prepared for the new area are able to address. And last, as I mentioned, the private network is for sure not a risk for MVNOs, but an opportunity, as we will find many opportunities in areas where the tier one, the big connectivity providers will not be able to afford or focus on. And finally, to close, it's some tips for an MVNO in the IoT arena is just stop acting as a connectivity provider, just get involved in the vertical business, analyze the requirement from the end customer, and provide a good set of tools and services to these companies. For sure, it's necessary to investigate these new levels of opportunities regarding all that capabilities, and it's really important. It's just think outside the box and not act as a reseller for connectivity, but a real operator on a new area. Thank you very much for this time. You can follow us in JSA Ingenium. And again, thank you very much to MVNO Nation for the time to share our view on this time for MVNO IoT. Thank you.